So after last year's NFC Championship loss, most Packers fans were calling for the firing of Mike Pettin, when the defense sort of crumbled in that one, losing to that Buccaneers team. And so then the Packers come in and decide to bring in new defensive coordinator Joe Barry. And of course, when someone new comes in, a guy that lots of people didn't want there, comes in, people are hopeful, excited for what could happen in the future. And I think this entire offseason, as Packers fans, we've been hoping that, hopefully Joe Barry can be the guy that, brings this entire defense together. Because it seems to me, at least it seemed to me in the offseason, that the Packers, have the pieces to come in here and have a really solid defense. I mean, Za'Darius Smith, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Jair Alexander. There definitely are a few weak spots, as we saw in that game yesterday. But before the season started, I think it was mainly, positive and hope that, maybe Joe Barry is the guy to come in here and bring in a great defense. He's bringing the energy in. Lots of players were talking about that, and it seemed like they were buying into his system. But now, the Packers just lost 38-3, and so, people are, questioning Joe Barry and, if it was the right move for the Packers to bring in Joe Barry, which obviously I think is a fine question to ask considering just how poorly the defense played. The offense definitely didn't do anything to help them considering, giving 2 turnovers, a couple drives, the Saints had very good field position to start, so definitely didn't help the score and the Packers defense on that one, but definitely played very poorly in this game. So I want to take a look at sort of what happened exactly. First off, I think it all starts at the line of scrimmage. We take a look at basically what happened in that game. The Saints dominated the line of scrimmage, mainly, on their offensive side of the ball. The Packers defensive line just really couldn't get anything going. They couldn't really force that much pressure. They weren't able to stop the run, which I think was the main reason the Packers lost this game, was their inability to stop the run. And if we take a look at some of these Packers defensive players, when it comes to their grades on PFF, Kenny Clark had a fine game, but outside of him, Kinsley Keke had a really bad game, Dean Lowry a pretty bad game, as well as Tyler Lancaster. So when you only have a guy like Kenny Clark, having a somewhat solid game, I wouldn't say it was an amazing game, but like an average game, if you only have him playing well, obviously it's going to be tough to stop the run. And the Saints came in here, ran the ball all over the Packers. They ran the ball 39 times for 171 yards, averaging 4.4 yards per carry. And that was pretty much split up between a few different guys. Kamara, 20 carries for 83 yards. Jones Jr., 50 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. Jameis Winston, 6 carries, 37 yards. The Packers couldn't stop the run, which was the main reason they lost this game. I mean, the Saints ran the ball 39 times to only Jameis Winston's 21 times passing the ball, but he was insanely efficient, throwing 5 touchdowns, which honestly, I did not see coming whatsoever in this game. So, also, we take a look at Alvin Kamara. He had 83 rushing yards, and on those rushing yards, 67.3 yards were after contact. So the Packers also, struggled when it came to tackling as well in this game. So definitely lots of problems for this defensive line, for this Packers defense when it came to stopping the run. It just seemed like the entire game, anytime they would hand the ball off, they just get an easy 5 to 6 yards. And I know starting off in that game, I was live streaming it for those of you guys who were there. Thank you for stopping by. But as that game started to go down, it was like, this is sort of ugly. Hopefully, I was sort of saying in the stream, like, hopefully this is just, one series. Hopefully it's only 2 series. Hopefully it's only 3 series. And it sort of kept going, and things just continued to spiral downhill for this Packers defense. So definitely not a good showing for the first time of Joe Barry's new defense here for Green Bay. The thing is, I don't think we can put all the blame on Joe Barry. Honestly, I don't even know how much blame should be there because the players didn't play well, and obviously it comes down to coaching as well, but the defensive line played poorly. Chris Barnes played poorly. He had a 32.9 grade against the run, so the linebackers weren't really coming in there and filling the holes. The running backs just had clear lanes all day long. Devondre Campbell actually had a somewhat solid game against the run. He had a 79.9 grade according to PFF. So while I know we could blame Joe Barry and say he's the only problem, obviously the Packers players played pretty poorly on defense. And, the defensive line has been, a weakness the past couple seasons. And in this game, it definitely was a weakness for this Packers team. And then one other thing too, because they were able to continue to pound the ball time after time, when Jameis Winston had play action passes, he went 6 for 8 with 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 152 passer rating. So the Packers couldn't stop the run, and then they're probably expecting the run, and when they were expecting it, Jameis Winston burned them there, using those play action passes. So it's a pretty poor showing for the first week of this Packers defense, no question about that. My thoughts on this, though, is like I'm not saying, oh, the Packers season is over. I'm not saying the Packers defense is terrible. They were terrible in that one game, but I still think we have the talent to be I thought we had the talent to be a top 10 defense in the NFL. Maybe now I'll stretch to hopefully top 15 after that performance, but I'm not going to say it's the end of the world for the Packers. As I said in the last video, the Buccaneers lost to the Saints 38-3 during the season last year and won the Super Bowl, so I'm not going to say it's all over yet. Another factor could be the fact that the Packers were one of the teams to sit like pretty much all of their starters. They sat like 32 to 33 players almost every single preseason game. So the fact that they were in there in Florida, I think the temperature was in like the high 90s, I heard some people saying. So you have guys who haven't played in a full game. Maybe they're not completely in full game shape if they haven't played in games, coming in there in a new defense, which probably does take time to get going and learn. So I think there were definitely lots of factors that could have played into them having a poor game. And hopefully it is the fact that they just haven't played in a long time and it is a new scheme and they have to figure things out. Hopefully they got the rust off and hopefully, they can come in next week against the Lions and show something different. Because I think the only reason I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little worried. I'm guessing you're a little worried. I don't think all hope is lost. We need to see what happens these next few weeks for the Packers. See if this defense can, start to put some things together. And if in a few weeks things are still looking like this, then I'm probably going to be worried. I'm a little worried now. I'll be a lot worried then. But hopefully they can fix it up. Hopefully they can figure out exactly what went wrong. Another thing that is interesting too, I think Davante Adams was talking about how, I think it was Davante Adams. Don't quote me on that one. But someone on the Packers team was saying how they pretty much expected to go up and down the field pretty much on anyone. So maybe the fact that maybe they weren't expecting the Saints to be that good. I know I wasn't expecting the Saints to be that good, and maybe they thought they were going to be able to control the game. And when it got off to a bad start, the Packers sort of just crumbled there. In the second half, Aaron Rodgers almost came down and scored. If he would have scored there, it would have been 17-10. Maybe the game would have changed. Instead, he throws that pick. So there's so many different things that we could take a look at and say that's the reason the Packers lost. And I think everything just sort of adds up together. Partly maybe it's the scheme. We'll have to see what happens there. Partly, the players played poorly. Everything was pretty much poor in this game for the Packers. So that's sort of my thoughts on that entire situation. But if you guys want to see more Packers content, subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video. I'll continue to put out content even if the Packers are losing. But thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.